Guys, today we're taking a look at the most futuristic shoe on the planet. Now you're probably wondering why and how this is the most futuristic shoe. Well, let me explain. It's called the Zellerfeld Beluga Slide, created by Chris DeRoy, a Yeezy designer. So calling these the Yeezy 2.0 slide is probably one of the most fitting names. Now, not only do these have a lot of design similarities, but if you had to imagine what a Yeezy Slide 2.0 would be, it would probably be this. Now, I'm not just calling these the most futuristic shoe for the sake of it. The engineering behind this is actually cutting edge. You may be familiar with some of the other Zellerfeld shoes that we've taken a look at on the channel, and unlike those, this comes with a brand new texture and material. It's a huge step up from some of the previous versions, both in practicality and visually. I also have some extra pairs of these, which I'm going to be giving away to you guys later on in the video. But let's get into this. Zellerfeld is a 3D printing footwear company based in Hamburg, Germany. They've collaborated with some of the biggest names in both fashion and tech, like Kanye West, Elon Musk, Moncler, Louis Vuitton, Heron Preston, the list goes on. They're a super unique company. When I did a tour of their factory out in Hamburg, I really realized how unique of a company they actually are. They're made up of a team of just 40 people that are all engineers. So no designers, nobody with fashion background, no marketing team, just incredibly smart people that are solely focused on the technology. One of the most surprising things about going to their factory was the fact that they build all of their 3D printing machines in-house. This not only allows them to have technology that no other company has, but also gives them a huge leg up when it comes to innovating new products. Now, obviously, they're making shoes, so making the tech that goes into creating something like this is one thing, but making them look good is a completely different thing. And how they actually do this is by outsourcing footwear designers. And the easiest way of explaining this is by using the example of YouTube. YouTube is a platform with a million different moving parts, but what really makes people want to use YouTube are the creators making the content. And for the creators, having complete freedom to create content as an individual without a production studio or investors or even experience, it's life-changing. So Zellerfeld works in a very similar way. They've built the platform and the technology that goes into the product, but what makes people really want to buy the shoes are the designers behind them. Like this one right here, made by a Yeezy designer. But quite literally, anybody can upload a design to the Zellerfeld platform and have it created and earn instant royalties off of sales. No need for massive corporations like Nike or Adidas or New Balance. And what that means for consumers is you now have a catalog of different designs made by people that you never would have normally heard of. One of the craziest things is seeing their catalog of all of these different shoe designs. And you've got shoes created by Yeezy designers or huge brands like Moncler, Louis Vuitton, Heron Preston. And right next to those are the smaller designers, which you have never heard of. It's kind of like how you could see a video of mine on your YouTube homepage, and right next to it could be a video from an actual studio like Business Insider. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds with all of this, but I do feel like you have to understand how Zellerfeld works in order to understand their products. But I do highly recommend checking out the full tour video that I did. It is fascinating. I'll link it down in the description. So let's talk about these slides. Let's go through some of the things that I really like about it and some of the things that I don't. First off, I really love the design of these. It's clean, it's minimal, it's ergonomic, and very form-fitting to your actual foot. The name Beluga comes from the beluga whale, which this takes a lot of visual inspiration from, and also, surprise, surprise, where Yeezy took inspiration for their Beluga Yeezy 350s. But the coolest thing about this pair of slides in particular is the way that they've been printing and the engineering behind it. So previous versions of 3D printed shoes from Zellerfeld have all had this very distinct texture to them. You can almost see the individual fibers of the 3D printed material being laid on top of each other, and it has that very, distinctive look. But these are almost completely smooth, just like a foam shoe. However, what's actually inside is insane. It's like a maze of different structures that kind of give it shape and a lot of practicality. It quite literally acts like a pillow. So if I squish down on this strap, you can see it just crumples and folds in on itself. You can even hear, if I stop talking and just press down, you can hear the material collapsing in on itself. Now, to visually represent this, I'm very glad I left the factory with two pieces of material that kind of explain this pair of shoes very well. So this right here is a tiny little sample of basically 3D printed fabric. It's incredibly durable and feels incredibly smooth. This would be like what's on the outside of this Beluga Slide. They also gave me a little cut off piece of what's on the inside. So if you can see all of the little structures inside there, it's incredibly soft. It simultaneously has structure and support, but also allows it to act like some kind of padded material. Another sample I left with is this boot that I guess kind of makes it a lot more visual than these slides because they're kind of covered up, but it shows that you can have this material which essentially acts like a padded mesh, but they can print it in a way that manipulates the structure of the shoes. You can have an incredibly soft pillowy upper and then obviously a much harder outsole for durability and obviously just, you know, walking around. So with this Beluga Slide, that's pretty much exactly what they've done, just in a very clean, production ready type of format. So the entire top half of this shoe is made with this incredibly soft, almost pillow-like type of structure, which really adds to not only the visual element of these things, but at the same time makes them so much more practical, because when I have my feet in here and I'm walking around, they can fold and crumple up, and it really makes these things a lot more comfortable because you have a much firmer outsole or sole area, but on top, this strap literally can just fold into your feet. I mean, I can literally fold them in half, and yeah, it's like nothing. They're just super, super movable and bendy, and then they just return back to their original shape. Now, the base of these, like I said, is a lot firmer. It's actually firmer than I was even expecting. It's definitely supportive and still has a decent amount of squish. But if I compared it to, like, let's say a Yeezy Slide, the Yeezy Slide is a decent amount softer. So let's go over some of the things that I'm not a big fan of with this pair of shoes, or the cons. First thing is the price tag. These cost $160, which for a pair of slides is definitely a very expensive price tag. But that price tag is definitely a representation of the tech that's in here and the innovation that goes into creating something like this. In fact, this is the cheapest shoe that Zellerfeld now offers. The rest of them are upwards of $200. Now, I will say you are getting something that is very, very durable. I mean, I did a 30-day wear test on one of Zellerfeld's shoes, and I pretty much tried to destroy them for 30 days straight, and they still looked brand new at the end. So these things, you can bend them, you can twist them, you can move them around, you can try your best to kind of break them, but they just return back to their original shape. Now, the next con is just ordering a pair. So how it works with Zellerfeld is that you actually buy a production slot for $10. Now, this has its pros and its cons. Your $10 production slot, if you were to buy one, basically holds your place in line. For example, I actually bought a couple different production slots just to test it out and show you guys, and all 4 pairs have an expected production date of April 2025, which is a painful 9 months away. So anybody who's super impatient might be pretty annoyed by this, but I mean, it is just $10. At least you're not paying like a pre-order for the entire product. Even though you do have a long wait time, you can actually choose what shoe you want while you're waiting. So if I decide I no longer want this specific pair of slides, I can change it to any of the other designs on the website. And that goes for future upcoming designs as well. That's a really important thing because, I mean, I don't even know if my style will be the same in 9 months. I could be completely different and want a completely different shoe. They're adding new designs pretty frequently. And when I went to their factory, I got to see some of their upcoming collaborations. Now, I literally had to sign an NDA, so legally I cannot say what they are, but they are pretty massive and mind-blowing. There's some massive names in there. Either way, yeah, it does suck that you do have to wait such a long time, but those are really the main issues, is actually getting these things. Once you actually get them, they are really, really comfortable. And because they're 3D printed, it gives them the ability to actually custom make them for your specific foot. So when you buy a slot on Zellerfeld's website, they send you an email to scan your feet. And once your foot scan is done, it can be applied to any shoe that you want. Even if you decide to change it, that foot scan exists and you can have it applied to whatever design you like. It really feels like you're buying something that's a tech product rather than just a fashion product. But as promised, the giveaway. So I thought it'd be really interesting for some of you guys to actually try these things out yourself, because I feel like there's one thing seeing these things on video, but it's a whole nother experience actually trying them. So I reached out to Zellerfeld and said, hey, let's try and get some pairs out to you guys, and they agreed. In fact, they offered up 5 pairs. So all you have to do is obviously be a subscriber, so subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and then just drop your shoe size down in the comment section along with your Instagram handle so I have the ability to contact you video if you win. Winners will be randomly selected in a week's time, and I'll announce the winners in a different video or through a community post on YouTube. But that's it. That's all you have to do. I definitely recommend trying these things out. Not only do they look really cool, they are a piece of the Yeezy sphere to some degree, and honestly will probably be one of the coolest shoes that you own because they are just fascinating. You're not going to stop doing this all day long. You're just going to have these in your hand, just squishing them. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this shoe and Zellerfeld tech in general. Drop it down in the comment section. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.